everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I am starting a project today. Well, I sort of started it yesterday. I actually started 2 new projects yesterday because my brain is just like, I have all these things that I want to work on and I just don't have enough hands or enough time. But one thing that I'm going to be working on is a White Witch journal for Release the Craftin's design team. The fun thing this time, we're taking a bit of a break for October with a new kit because of like October Daily and just some other stuff that's happening within our design team. So what we got to do, because Priscilla is the loveliest person ever, she said, you know, pick what you want out of my kits, whatever you would like, I will send it to you and you can work away on it. So I have had this image for some time now of Esme Beringer. Yesterday I worked on it a little bit. I cut it. It was part of a really big book plate that's actually maybe the size of this whole basket. It came out of an old book. I got it at a bookstore that sells book plates from old books when the books are just beyond, you know, repair. They're falling apart. So I saw her and I've had her this whole time and I felt like she's just a perfect kind of white witch. So Esme Beringer is a really fascinating person. She is was an English actress. She was alive from 1875 to 1972 and she had a career in like vaudeville and entertainment and theater, and she was also known for her fencing skills. She was a really cool, fierce woman, and I love her. I think like this is such an amazing image. So what I did yesterday was, after cutting it all out, I attached it to some book board and I painted it with like some silver. There's about 3 layers of paint on here, like a white, a black, and a silver, and it's got a little bit of purposeful wearing here and there that I've been doing. And now I'm trying to decide what kind of cover I want to make. I'm like half feeling like I want to do like a soft cover with like lace and other white kind of stuff, but then I'm also like making this like maybe a journal topper with some collage and whatnot. And then I'm also thinking about like, I really love the idea of putting this on a book cover. And then I also have this really nice handmade paper that kind of looks like a bit of a birch tree, and I'm thinking of making my own book cover and using that paper as the outer paper on the book. And right now that one's winning, even though like I really want to use up lace. I just feel like it's not the project for it. So I'm just going to kind of let that stew in my brain for a while and see where we get with it. Meanwhile though, I will show you the beautiful kit. I'm allowed to do that this time because it's already released. So this kit is an older one of Priscilla's, so it's done a little differently. It's not as, I would say, like fully involved as her kits are nowadays. They're much larger than this nowadays. She includes a lot more different things. I would say her style overall is slightly different, but I really love this kit, so I wanted to use it, and I'm happy that I chose it. So it begins with the journaling cards. So these are really cool, and I think they're going to be a lot of fun. And then the pages. So what I did was, I was thinking about what kind of backgrounds I wanted to do, but I've got this idea in my head. I was doing these pages that I was calling kind of like Cabinet of Curiosa kind of pages, where I was collaging the whole back and then making sort of like, I'll just kind of do a demonstration. So imagine there's a whole collage of different papers that are sort of similar here. And then let's say this is one of them. Maybe it would be right here. And it would just be part of the collage, except it would be open right here and you could tuck something in. And maybe there'd be another one down here and maybe another one up here. And so I'm kind of thinking along those same lines. So as a result, I printed the background pages, of which there are 3 in this kit, just as pages because I really love them. So this is the background, one of the background pages, another background page. Let me see if I can do this easier here. Maybe I'll just put them behind one another. Now I'm thinking. Okay, so yeah, this is another background page, and this is the 3rd one. Then we get into the main pages of the kit, and I really love them. beautiful, beautiful pages. Priscilla gets me every time with her amazing layering. I love her work because it doesn't feel like something has just been slapped down on the page. And I see a lot of digital work that does make me feel that way, and hers never does. It's always got such beautiful layering and shading, and she knows what she's doing. Makes me very happy. That's why I was so excited when she said yes to me asking her if I could be on her design team, even though I was so little at the time that I asked. I mean, I'm not huge right now either, but it was a very kind chance that she took on me, and I will always appreciate it. So what I did after I got this kit printed out, I thought, all right, now I need to gather book pages to go along with, this kit, what's going to be in this journal. So that's what I typically do. I also, decide on what paper I'm going to use as the primary paper that will be the writing pages. I have those also. I can show them to you after. But what I did is I sort of went through and I was like, what's in this kit? Okay, what can I use? Florals, purple ones specifically, owls, butterflies, moons, music. There's music in here. Bottles, mushrooms, obviously women, mirrors, moths, frogs, jewels, stars, lace, and plant illustration. So those are kind of the things that, I can use as like a little, just like a little list rather than having to make a whole storyboard. This is just a nice little list. So that being said, I need tea. So I'll show you the book pages that I have pulled together for this, and then maybe we'll work a little on the white collage afterward. Let me grab them. There are a gazillion of them. And if you're wondering about Miss Esme Beringer, this is her name here. The daughter of a clever dramatist, Mrs. Oscar Beringer. Would be nice to know her name and not her husband's name, her mother, but such was the times, unfortunately. Okay, so here are a few pages that I've pulled. This one, I have to clean it up, but it's going to be a page. Then this one, this is from Janet Marsh, Janet Marsh's Nature Diary. Purple flowers, beautiful page. Then this is another Janet Marsh page from the Nature Diary, and I grabbed it for a couple reasons. Moths, and over here we have some illustrations of toads. So that one I'm going to play with a little bit to see how I want to use it. I grabbed a couple of entomology books from a 1970s actual entomologist's notebook that I got at my recycling center. I'm assuming that his estate was donated because one day I went there and there was just a ton of entomology. Okay, I have to be careful here with some of this. I don't know if you've ever heard of this magazine. It was, I think, from the 70s. It's kind of like a taboo, Man, Myth, and Magic. It has, I mean, a lot of like, I think, this was the time where like people were fascinated with things like the occult and cults, and they believed that, there were all of these rampant Satanists in the forest or something. I feel like it was around this time, first of all, that like, people believe that stuff, but also people were up to some weird stuff. Like they were like, definitely, it was like post-sexual revolution. And I feel like there was some time where people were just getting a little funky with what they were up to. So there's a little bit of nudity here, but I'll cover it up. The rise of modern witchcraft. I'm not too sure yet what I want to do with these pages. I have to be careful back here too. There's more nudity, black magic and witchcraft. And then, this is the kind of weird stuff people are getting up to. I don't know. So there are some interesting images here though. That I'm not sure if I want to use or not. If I do, I'll be kind of like doctoring them up a bit and stuff. Oh, this is so risque. The world's fear of the nipple. I have to respect it. So anyways, then I took this big butterfly book, and it's just got these beautiful butterflies, and so I thought that would be nice. It's really big. It's going to be a little challenging to use probably, but I'll figure it out. And then I have this amazing children's book that I pulled some pages from here. So This is one that just really, I was like, White Witch, yes, she's amazing. And also, I forget the name of the book. It's something like Give Me the Moon or something. I won't be using all of this. This will probably cut out. It will depend on how it impacts this page, but I did do some ripping up of books yesterday. This one I'm probably going to make ephemera and use words and probably use this bit for something. I'm not going to be using the Pyro character. Is it Pyro? Is that his name? I can't remember. That like maudlin, character from like children's stories. He's falling in love with my White Witch here, so we'll see what role he may or may not play in the book. Another lovely picture of her. Yes, Pyro. He's, bugging her again. He's making his appearance. This is the front page of the book. I really loved the texture of it here. And there he is again, of course. And here is a beautiful picture of her. And another that's just amazing. And, oh yes, here it is. Give Me the Moon and Other Tales. This is the book. It's a beautiful book. It has these three stories in it. But just amazing images. This is an extra I printed to test. Sometimes I can't remember like what direction, if I want to print in the back, does my paper have to be on. Not this one, obviously, because it's upside down. So that'll just be, probably I'll make some ephemera with that. And then I have a book about dreaming, and it has some really cool pictures in it that I felt like would go well. So first of all, there's this night scene, and these people here who are all just around town here with candles that kind of really go with the stars in the sky. And it says, imagine a night when moonlight spills across the water to make a path for the lightest feet. And then this one, I felt like it was very White Witchy. And on back, imagine a night when velvet darkness hangs at every window so that our dreams will never end. And this one is so neat. So this might look like snow, but actually the whole ground here is mattresses, like beds with comfy white sheets and pillows. We have someone sleeping here. And this is all of the paintings, I think, that were in the book. And then I grabbed a couple of pages from an Italian fungi magazine that have like white mushrooms and some mushroom illustration. And we'll see what we do with those. And then this is a book of like plants and the various diseases that they can get, which may sound gross, but actually not. It's really informative and also really cool. The pictures, the illustrations inside are really nice, and I thought they would go very well with a White Witch theme. And then this is just a fly page from another book that I felt like fit the color scheme I'm working with. So these are the pages that I am planning to do work with, but I'll set them aside for now, and I think I will grab that. I'm just going to use up this bit here. I may keep one little snip of her name and just stick it in the book because it'll be a nice little way to pay homage to the book. If you do hear a little squealing again, I'm eco-printing a dress. I should show you. I have to grab some paper anyways, so just give me a couple of moments and I'll show you a few things that I've been up to this morning. Okay, so I am back with some stuff that I've been up to this morning. So, first of all, remember yesterday the squealing that was going on. I told you I'm eco-printing. So, yesterday, this is what I did. I'm going to be putting some of these bags in my shop soon. I've been working away on them. They're just lovely cotton shopping bags. Really great, really durable. I've been lugging one around for like a year and it still looks wonderful. So, these have been mordanted and printed with smoke bush, this particular one. It was my first time experimenting with smoke bush, and I was so happy that it has a lot of tannin. It prints very similar to sumac, not quite as dark, which is actually perfect. Sometimes sumac to me can be almost overwhelming, and it shadows a lot, where this one didn't shadow quite as much, so I'm really happy with it. This is the back side. I only printed on one side, and I only did actually leaves on one half. So here we go. on this half, then I folded it. So when you're eco printing, your leaf has a moon side and a sun side. So the side of the leaf that faces the sun is the one that's going to leave you this lighter mark. The moon side, the underside of your leaf that points down toward the ground, is going to give you this darker print because it holds most of the tannin in the leaf. Then you will typically get some kind of a beautiful shadow. If you don't want that, you can obviously layer plastic in between any place where your leaves may touch. But anyways, now I'm getting into something else entirely. But you'll see also on the stem, you get these dots that hold on to some tannin as well. So I'm super happy with those. With that, I just did the one. Right now I'm doing a dress that is been a total nightmare to try to print, but I'm hoping it turns out well. Then, before I jump into collaging, I just want to show you these. So this is my pin box from all the pinning I had to do because the dress that I'm dyeing is so complicated in its cut. It has ruffles that I had to pin the leaves on, which was like super tedious. Now, I also this morning sculpted these. What could these be? They're mushrooms. They're going to be mushrooms. I've just put a first coat of paint on them. They're going to need at least another coat, probably 2 or 3 more. And they are on brads that are going to be clipping into the front of a journal cover. So this is another project that I'm hopefully going to be able to make a design for. It's something I'm just kind of planning. I don't normally share things this early on in their process because I get like nerve-wracked for some reason when I share my secrets early on, but it's okay. I'm going to break out of that mindset. So let's put this aside and get started with a bit of collage. So I said I grabbed some papers, which I did. Use that one for collage. I'll probably throw one of those in the book too. I like it. These are the papers that will be probably the writing pages for the book. I'm not sure if you can see, but they have tones of like a bluey silvery gray and then like a tea kind of maroon, like a light maroony brown. I dyed these for the morning journals, but I think they'd be beautiful also for these journals. So I also grabbed some regular kind of tea-dyed pages, and I want those to be the bulk of what we're going to collage on the back sides of the books. So I just got to get a glue book here. Okay. Just checking one thing. Okay, so let me get my, I guess I could use this paper or I could use, sorry, I'm just shuffling a bag here. There we go. I'm going to use a paper bag for the gluing so I don't make a gigantic mess. I think I'll do the back sides of the journal cards as well. So let's start with those. I also have my scraps next to me so I can grab additional things. Maybe I'll make a little pile of those kinds of additional things. I'm going to go mostly like white or cream tones. Okay. Okay, this should be good. This, not those. Okay. And at some point, I may have to pause so I can run upstairs and get my dog because he's being a little poo this morning. I had him down here. My children have gone to their early years group this morning, and so he comes down here with me, but then he gets all like fussy about what's going on upstairs because he's like neighborhood watch, and he likes to sit perched on the stairs and look out our front window at the street so that he can police anybody wandering around and let me know that, you know, trouble may be afoot, or a contractor, or, you know, a neighbor. But Toasty is a 5-pound protector, so going to try to lay down some larger pieces here too, not all little ones. This morning I finally finished the Sandman series. Oh my gosh, it was so good, and I'm like, when is season 2? I need to see season 2. I won't talk too much about it because I don't want to give spoilers, but I absolutely recommend it. It was so good. I kind of wish that, you know, everything that came out of Neil Gaiman's mind could be also on television, because I have so little time to read these days. Although I suppose I shouldn't really make that excuse, as I could have been reading instead of watching TV, but it was like between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. that I was watching this, because like you know, I'm busy. So it's one of those things. I don't get a lot of my own TV time or reading time, because I spend most of my time reading kid books these days. So, you know, parenting, it's a thing that takes over your life for, well, a few decades, I guess. But it's also wonderful, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Today I have put together a nice homeschool lesson. We're learning about Egypt and Ethiopia and Kenya this week, and so my daughter's been learning all about Maasai dancing and how wonderful it is, and then we're looking at we have this book called Cultured Chef, and it's sort of like, you know, world's recipes, and so we're going to make kafti kebab and hummus. I think there's another recipe I have yet to look at. We have to cover that. I think is from the Egypt chapter, and then today we're going to be covering the Kenya chapter. So we've learned all about mummification and lots of fun stuff. I am probably going to use the back side of that, even though I don't know, I'll use the writing. It would be awful not to. It's so beautiful. My husband is a champion. He got a bunch of laundry done yesterday, so that all the clothes that I want to bring, the swimsuits and everything that we need on vacation, will be good to go, and I won't have to be like hunting for anything, and that always makes me feel far more at ease than when I'm having to hunt around. And I was watching on Instagram this morning. I took a look at what was going on. And I saw that Catherine from Sunnyside Journals has finished this beautiful miscellaneous works book she's been working on for quite some time. I've been following it along, and so she's working probably now on getting that flip through filmed. Looking forward to seeing it. Somebody is messaging me. Okay, sorry for the interruption. My husband needed some help. He's out with the kids, and he had to change his plans because apparently there's a unscheduled closure of the center where they go to their early years group. So it's one of those things where you get kids' hopes up and then like you have to disappoint them, and so he needed a little help with like, okay, now what? It's rough. They're really missing going to early years because we when my daughter was sick, you know, we didn't go anywhere for a while, and she didn't get to go, and then she also had swimming lessons, and so she didn't get to go then, and she just really loves going there. She's very close to the people that run the place, and yeah. been definitely a challenging time because I've been on the fence about letting them go there, period, because they've gotten rid of mask mandates there, and I just don't feel comfortable at all about it. But apparently we're in crazy world now, and people are just going to do whatever they want. So I have to somehow try to balance like doing everything the right way when it's like literally impossible. But that's a tangent that, you know, you've heard me probably say a few times. I saw a really good like comparison the other day that was like this doctor had posted that she was really frustrated that the only public health measure left, you know, has also been scrapped, which is masks. And, you know, now there's this weird like stigma associated with wearing a mask, or that like people are treating others, you know, like weird for wearing a mask, and which I haven't experienced. And honestly, I pray for the soul who would say something rude to me for wearing a mask, because I cannot at all promise that I would not have a silver tongue. I'm pretty sure I would at this point out of my own frustration with the world and masks. And so you know, someone made a comparison and said like seatbelts are mandated. Seatbelts are recommended. Please have respect for the outliers who still choose to wear seatbelts. And I was like, oh, that's so true. That's such a good analogy. But yeah, again, not trying to be like, you know, to me, public health isn't political. It's just like, I'm the kind of person who wants everyone healthy, because it's not nice to not be healthy. And there's a lot of immunocompromised people in my life, and also a lot of people who aren't necessarily diagnosed as immunocompromised actually are. It's not really something that you have to be diagnosed with. There's many conditions that you can have, or just general poor health, that can make you very immunocompromised and you don't even know it. So it's never good to like try to be, I don't know, difficult about like being safe, right? I think about a lot of things, like how our ancestors would have dealt with like plagues, and well, I guess we already know that. You know, if they didn't have the kind of things that we've had in place. But anyways, this is some old handwriting. It says, "Dear Aunt." It's from an old photo. Very cool. Guess I had to cut this old photo down for whatever I was using it for. I also love that I found all these French books, because Esme Beringer, who is on the front of the book, did a lot of French, many French plays. It's very early morning right now, and I'm in the midst of like, or the beginning of like my work day will be coming very soon. I have meetings all afternoon that I'm not looking forward to, because I just want to go outside, but that's okay. As my dear old friend used to say, that's what they pay you for. If you didn't like it, they wouldn't, or if you liked it, they wouldn't have to pay you. Okay. Oh, these are going to be fun pages. I like them already. Let's get some of this tea-dye paper. Probably pretty soon I can check on that dress that's steaming away. Maybe if it turns out half decent, I'll show it to you tomorrow. If it doesn't, I'll be too busy setting it aflame and crying, because this is the second time that I've tried to print it, And I'm really hoping it works. The first time I knew it was going to be difficult because the way that it's designed, so it's a sleeveless dress, and it has buttons down the front. It's made from cotton, and then the whole bottom is I think there are 5 layers of ruffles. It's not the most ideal thing to eco print because it's hard to get the plants to lay down, on ruffles, as well as it's a big thing to fold up and put into the pot too. So I knew it was going to be challenging. It's I knew that was going to happen, but then I used oak leaves the last time, and they weren't very heavy in tannin. That happens sometimes. Oak leaves can be a little bit unpredictable. And it was weird because I actually had printed the exact same day several of those shopping bags that I showed you, with the same leaves on the same big branch from a tree that had fallen, and the same mordant is on both cottons, and the bags printed fine, but the dress didn't. It was very muddy, and I think it had mostly to do with the fact that I couldn't get it rolled on the bar tight enough to press the leaves hard enough onto the cloth, and I couldn't get it tied up tight enough. So I bought those drain snakes, those metal drain snakes. Well, I bought one of those and I rusted it, and because it's flexible, it's going to be really, really useful for eco printing. So I can wrap cloth around it and roll it when it's a weird cloth that just is going to give me a hard time on the normal steel or aluminum or wooden bars that I use. So that's my new experiment, to see if that will work better. And it's coiled, so it might give a nice coil kind of texture too. So we'll see. See what happens. Oy, let go. This bag's getting a little gluey. And then I'm going to let the glue dry because I may end up using it as a journal cover. I never get rid of these shopping bags, although I don't always keep them when I get them. Sometimes I'm just too impatient to want to fold them up. My husband is the king of folding these bags because he grew up getting all of his groceries in bags, paper bags in the US. I guess because they were a military family and they shopped at these military on base grocery stores or something, and they always used paper bags, so he's really used to it. Unfortunately in Canada, where I live, we only went to having paper as an option in the last 2 years, but plastic bags are pretty much gone now. There's a few outliers that still use them, but I don't really shop there, and I'm a big believer in getting rid of plastic bags and all sorts of single-use plastic, mainly water bottles, because I can't stand water bottles. I find it a really, there's exceptions obviously, for homeless people, and there are times when you need that kind of thing, just with straws. Sometimes there are disabled people who require a plastic straw, not a hard straw, or a paper one rather, but we don't all need them, right? So it's good to get them out of circulation. Although there are actually a lot more harmful things also in the environment that I really hope they get rid of soon, because they're very damaging, and that would be plastic cigarette filters. The filters from cigarettes are everywhere, cigarette butts, and hopefully most people have come around and stopped smoking to begin with, but for those who haven't been able to kill the addiction, it is what it is. But also balloons. Balloons are an awful environmental plague, especially helium ones, because helium is a non-renewable resource that we need for MRI machines, and there have been shortages on it, and it's very baffling to me that we're allowed to use it for balloons, which are one of the planet's worst pollution and wildlife killers. And also lollipop sticks from the company Chupa Chup, who on several occasions have received big letter writing campaigns sent to their attention, most of which I've participated in, yet they still refuse to get rid of those silly plastic sticks that get jammed up in wildlife's noses and such. I have seen some where they have paper sticks, but I still see the plastic ones all the time. In fact, someone wanted to give my daughter a lollipop the other day when we were out shopping, and I had to say no because it had a plastic stick. And they said, oh, and they asked me if she had an allergy, and I said no, but it's a terribly environmental, like, you know, it's a terrible plague on the environment, and we just don't want to support buying those things, right? So you might want to look into getting lollipops with paper sticks. Also, she didn't need the sugar, but like, I wanted to let them know, because, you know, I don't know, I try not to give people like a diatribe, but like, I just really care about this stuff, and I really want them to know, like, you know, I'm sure they weren't aware, and actually they weren't aware. We talked about it afterward, and they were like, oh, I didn't even think about, you know, a lollipop stick. And I said, well, me neither, until I started to really follow. There's a really great website, and these amazing girls that are in, I believe, Florida, and it's called balloonsblow.com, and their slogan is balloons blow, don't let them go. And you will learn an awful lot about, you know, balloons and other bad plastics, microplastics in the ocean. They do huge ocean cleanups. They actually really inspired me to get on doing really common, like frequent beach cleanups. I'd always done like trash bash type stuff, but I really got into like doing beach cleanups through them. So yeah, check them out. They're really cool girls, and they're like really making a difference. I think they have been able to end a lot of balloon releases, which are some of the worst events that happen, because, you know, what goes up must come down, and often they're done for unfortunate reasons, like memorials. So, you know, you have to be really sensitive when you're talking to a family who have planned a balloon release for their loved one who's passed away, possibly tragically. I mean, death is always tragic, but you know, sometimes these are like, you know, unexpected violence related kind of events. And so these girls have really mastered the art of like having very meaningful talks with people, sponsoring them to do something else, like a tree planting for their loved one. Yeah, they're very well-meaning, and they're very good at communicating their purpose, like not being like smarmy about it. Like, you know how sometimes you can sound like you're on a high horse or something when you have a purpose, and then that can make the people who are listening to you, you know, potentially not connect with your purpose or not want to help you because they feel like you're judging them, or you're being you know, holier than thou about things. Like, you know, it's complicated, because like sometimes, like for me, I feel like a lot of the times I get too close to something to even know necessarily how I sound about it. Like, obviously I never want to sound preachy, and I think most of us don't, but I think we all do sometimes, you know. I mean, some things kind of warrant important kind of dialogue, and hopefully, you know, for those that are on a path of trying to help with things like the environment, they'll just keep on the path, and they'll find the right ways to get their messages out, because it's important. Okay. Then I think this one may be my last for now, because I never check the time on my videos, and like sometimes I know I go a little, I never go that long, I don't think. I always, whenever I feel like, oh, I've gone on forever, my video ends up being an hour. It's like, oh, okay, I'm not that bad. I remember, like, I used to years ago be really into watching, I got into watching Twitch, and I still like Twitch. I don't watch it often these days. I just don't have time now that I have kids. But in the year or two before I had my first child, my daughter, I got really into, like, I've always been a huge fan of Super Mario. Like, you know, since I'm like a 80s kid, so I really love Super Mario, and there was a game that came out many years ago. It's since been re-released on a new platform, and it's called Super Mario Maker, and it's where you got to design your own levels. And like, this is something that I felt like Nintendo, they climbed inside my brain, and they were like, okay, because I had actually like always wanted a game like that. I remember like talking to my mom years ago, like, imagine if you could design your own game, how cool that would be, and you know, like just talking to her about it. And surely enough, it finally arrived, and I got really into it. And then I learned all about like how, you know, like there's a lot of professional like gamers or semi-professional or people who are trying to become professional gamers. And I learned about like how in Japan they have like these crazy good like video game players, and they make these, they were designing their own game levels and calling them, I believe, Kaizo. And so it was like what I would do is I would watch these Kaizo levels, these like almost impossible to beat Super Mario World levels, and like it was just so fascinating. And I ended up like befriending a lot of streamers on the platform and talking to them, and like, you know, kind of becoming a big fan of that. I even streamed a little bit myself, but then I got pregnant and everything changed. So that was the end of my my Super Mario Maker career. So anyhow, my fingers are sufficiently covered in glue, and I'll probably go clean up. And I hope that you had fun here with me while I collaged and talked about how much I hate balloons. And I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk again very soon. Bye for now.